Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome to Plain Talk, and it is the 50th episode of it is the 50th episode. Hello there. Holy crap, 50
Hello.
episodes, and over 2 years of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it all like started when I saw like Pat from Matt and Pat make like two best friends play or super best friends playing making a bit like a very ignorant comment about like just having Nintendo release the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate game early just because it was leaked.
Uh-huh.
And now we're here. We're going to be talking about Michael J. Fox having to retire because he has Parkinson's disease. Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? My mic ended up shorting out.
Oh yeah. Michael J. Fox.
Oh yeah, I read the news on that.
Oh, I am
It's quite the shame. Understandable, but it's still quite the shame.
I really do feel bad for him. I have to admit.
Like a very talented actor and someone who, at least by all accounts, is a really good, if not great person, and he has to quit because of something that's ultimately outside of his control.
Yeah. What a what a goddamn shame. It's just. On the bright side, the election turned in the favor of Joe Biden. Thank God. It's just like, oh my God, I was really anxious. It's like, no, at least
I was refreshing my phone every minute just.
Oh my God, same. Oh
if I was
God,
not refreshing, I was working.
same. It was like, it's a good thing the founding fathers thought about putting an inauguration day on the 20th, right? It's just like right after the election day, because do you know how messy that would be?
Doesn't help that Trump is basically trying to call fraud for an election that he lost fair and square. Gotta love a sore loser.
It's karma. It's fucking karma.
Though then again, he's a sore winner, so it's just as insufferable either way.
It's like a Morton's fork kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Morton's fork. And it says Morton's. And it says mortgage. I don't know why. So let's do once we learn journey. Let's do co-op.
At least in other good news, like it turns out Wonder Woman 1984 is going on HBO Max at no extra cost when it comes out in December.
Oh yeah,
Christmas specifically.
Around the same time as I believe what it would be in theaters. Is that right?
It's still coming out in theaters, but they've expanded it to where you can watch it on HBO Max if that's what you have to do. Because Patty Jenkins was clearly trying really hard to try to get it in theaters, but considering how Tenet ended up doing not very well, even by COVID standards that they were expecting, she ultimately, and I guess powers above her, also decided that it's like, yeah, we have to probably just try to do both.
Yeah,
and honestly, I can't blame her, because with COVID, I don't really try to go out too much with them. The only times I really go out is with my girlfriend, and that's about it.
Yep.
And I try to keep that to a minimum. When we go out, we basically go to areas that aren't very populated. Masks on, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's good news. So at least a lot of people can enjoy the movie on the holidays, so that way they don't have to wait until much later.
Yeah. And bit of an off topic, but I do like how I do like the little GIF I did for when I announced my stream for D&D earlier today. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Evil Dead, can't really go wrong with that. So anyway, I'm gonna be going with there's gonna be a B wing for this game. There's Y wing, A wing, and U wing. There's a B wing. That's like a tank. Sounds something more to my style. Ready up?
Sure.
Yeah, I already got ready. Yeah, it's just from that, which at least like I thought it still sucks because I really wanted to see Wonder Woman 84 in theaters, but I know because I live with grandparents, this is probably the best thing that I can really do with it.
Some people speculate that the same thing will apply, at least mostly the same thing will apply to Black Widow.
Here's hoping, but who knows if it will.
Yeah.
Because again, like COVID, we're not going to be able to go to normal, so to speak, until late next year, and that's the And considering how things are going, I think that's a fair estimate.
I did hear of vaccines that are at least 95%. Vaccine trials are at least
95% effective, but it's mainly now a matter of distributing them and storaging them.
Yeah.
Like, I live close to Orlando, so at the very least, I know that people like me will try to get prioritized because we're sort of in the neck of it. But people who are more living,
like
I guess more outwards, like or more remotely, they
like
would
me
be more
in
the issue
Utah?
of getting them to. Huh?
Like me in Utah, although I live in a suburban area, is it more a bit more
Like, would you say that you're kind of distant from a city, or would you say like you kind of live close to one? Because like I live like 30 minutes from Orlando.
20
Or 20 minutes actually.
20-minute drive to Salt Lake City.
Oh, then you're not. You would actually probably be prioritized for that because you'd be living very close to it. But I mean, like remote, as in people who live kind of very big distances away from any large kind of cities. Though essentially, they live kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So odds are decent. So not sure about the odds of Black Widow being in movie theaters. I mean on Disney Plus.
We'll have to wait and see. So for that. But regardless, I guess at least hope they make one. I mean, Disney shows they're kind of considering it because Soul is also coming out on Disney Plus, and I believe they're also doing that at no cost. If I read that correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're also doing a deal like Wonder Woman 84 is doing, where it's like you can see it either in theaters or Disney Plus, or if it's just Plus. But I'll have to
like the Mulan movie. I heard it's not, like I said, I'm not happy at that movie. It's just such a movie.
That movie actually didn't do so well, even by what they were projecting it would do for COVID. So honestly, like probably for theaters though, that's also why they're considering. Because Tenet, from what I heard, even for what they were projecting, what they were hoping that it could do by COVID standards, it still fell really short.
Yeah.
Because again, a lot of people just do not feel safe because like I've been to movie theaters and I would say that yes, they have taken plenty of extra measures, and like so far, at least for the two movies I've went to, the theaters were largely empty. Like there would be at most maybe 2 or 3 other individuals in this very big room. So ultimately, I was just fine.
Yeah, I'm going to suck a lot at this because I am rusty. It's been like months. I think it's been like months since I last played this.
Yeah, same for me too. Well, not months. It came out last month, but it has been like I only played a bit at launch though. Yeah, several weeks, and then I just went right out.
Ow, 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 ow.
Although, since we're playing Star Wars, kind of leads me to something that actually I was discussing on the Nuance Gaming Discord in the Kino section.
Yeah.
But it's just that, yeah, when I see people specifically talking about stuff that is original, even though I get where the sentiment is coming from, at the same time, I just kind of think, like, so what you kind of consider original is basically if there's a new face to it, not so much if the stories themselves are being told differently. Is kind of the vibe I get from this, because like I use in my example something like My Hero Academia, like I say new and original, relative to what exactly? New and original to the landscape of stuff that's coming out, or just new and original in general? Because like My Hero though, I mean it comes out with a lot, it's clearly being with a lot of the superheroes that are there, so I would say on some level, it's like, yeah, you could say it's unoriginal, or even just the concept, like the whole, oh, here's a high school full of people with superpowers, that's not even something that it created. Sky High did a very similar concept many years,
back in
over
2005.
about a decade before the show came out, before the, when the movie came out. So, it's kind of like, okay, so is it ceased to be unoriginal then, or new, because something else did a very similar idea? And I'm not talking about they had something that was kind of similar. I mean, like, even just casual glance on it, you can go, wow, these things actually have a lot in common with each other.
Narrate path to chat.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by it. So it's kind of like original relative to what, though? And I use the same thing for other movies, like Hustlers, which is actually still a contender for my 2019 movie of the year. It would either be that or Booksmart, but it's just that it was a similar vein. Okay, it's probably pretty original if we're talking about that year's lineup of movies, but in terms of a crime movie, if you've seen Goodfellas or Wolf of Wall Street, you more or less know what happens in this one. Like Act 1, there's our main character who tries to go legit, then by the ending of Act 1, there's some sort of uncontrollable real-life thing that happens. In the case of Belford, basically he starts his job at the same day that the stock market crashes, and for Destiny, she has a good few months, but then the 2008 recession hit.
Oof.
So then it's like, then Act 2, the criminal empire basically starts. They still try to go legit, but they ultimately can't succeed off of it. So they start doing a criminal enterprise. For Jordan Belfort, it was selling basically penny stocks, which are very immoral. And in the case of Destiny, basically drugging rich guys and making them, and maximizing their credit cards, and just having them think that they just basically spent too much at the night.
I'm also thinking, I also remember, so like,
partially... Great movie. I absolutely loved the movie, but I guess if we're going by original, I would say relative to the movie landscape or relative to just movies in general. I mean, even Booksmart, another movie I love, has basically that same thing. We have high schoolers who are basically trying to have the greatest night of their lives, and it's the longest one of their lives, and they go on a whole bunch of crazy adventures in this very one night. Again, I would say, by the year's lineup of movies, probably pretty original, at least for ones that were theatrically released. But in general, if you've seen high school movies, or it has in those manners, you've kind of seen it. So again, does it cease to be original or new because a similar concept was kind of done? I wouldn't say so, because again, we should go by how it does it, not so much if it was done before. And in the case of franchises, sometimes there are only stories you can tell when it is of that franchise. So if I were to say case in point, something like Into the Spider-Verse, because it is specifically dealing with a very legacy character that most of us have grown up with for like probably as long as we've been alive, at least in my case. So it's like, yeah, with Spider-Man, this main character dies, and there's this kid who has to rise up to that. You couldn't really do that and be as emotionally impactful if this were entirely new characters we had never seen before. This could only really be done in the context of having either be Spider-Man, or even if it was another hero like Batman. Regardless, they would be needed in order to tell that story. Even the Star Wars sequel trilogy more or less needs that in order to tell the story it's in, about characters who are basically metaphorically inheriting a legacy and them managing that. I mean, again, you kind of can only really have that with something that's a franchise.
Yeah. There was also, there was also some talk, some talk on US Gaming about like how Star Trek, Star Wars struggle to be relevant in today's world.
I say again, you kind of need to make sure to get off of Twitter if you think it's non-relevant. It's still a highly talked about film series, and it's still also incredibly popular and also successful.
Yeah, both Star Wars and Star Trek. We still have shows going on for both.
But the thing is, I think Star Trek doing that isn't really because they can't. I think that's just what they want to do. I mean, because the movies themselves, like the third Star Trek movie didn't do well, but more so because it didn't have much marketing, and also because there wasn't much buzz like there was in the previous movies. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I am. I'm just like multitasking between like looking something up for my brother and trying not to get shot.
Yeah. So that's what I mean with it. Like Star Trek releasing the TV shows, I don't really think it's a case of they have to, but more so that's what they want to. That's even what Star Wars is currently doing by also putting a lot of emphasis on the Disney Plus stuff as well.
And with the trying to think, I'm trying to.
Victory is at hand. Eliminate the Star Destroyer.
Rusty, Nicholas. So sorry about that, my brother.
This is how I told you how to do it. Where I sit down on the D-pad. Of course.
Yeah.
Approaching
the
battlefield.
So I got my thoughts derailed for a second. So guess what came in? That's what I ordered and what was brought in yesterday. Tasha's
Wow,
coded
what
everything for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so one of the notable things it does is like basically you can customize your character's regular features such as ability scores, what you're proficient in, like weapons, armor, skills. Did I say skills twice? Oh well. Yeah, pretty much near everything, including linkage.
They're locking on.
Interesting.
So yeah, and as well as we printed the artificer with the
Blast it!
I'm trying to remember how to.
It's okay. Again, we're like, aren't we just playing like against AI anyway?
Yeah, we're playing against AI, so it's not like it's gonna affect anything except
Yeah,
our
exactly.
pride.
I'm here for you, Vanguard
This is like
3.
if I haven't said it before, this game's like a very complicated way of tug of war. Just saying.
Basically, that's how I viewed it with its main ships. But I would say back to the franchise thing with it. So I will say with it, I get where the perspective of wanting new IP comes from, but I find that the desire just feels kind of pointless if you're only just wanting new IP, but the stories aren't changing. And again, as I always say with a lot of things, original and new is also very relative to what exactly is being talked about. Like, oh, this is original relative to what? The series? Like the genre? Movies in
They
general?
have a lock.
And sorry, I was talking to my brother. Trying to. Come on, come on. Down is just balance.
Hit!
There we go. There we go. I can't believe I forgot how to put shields to the reel.
I actually forgot that too. I just said his word on that.
See that? Shoot it.
Yeah, we're gonna be second or last this game, by the way.
So that's always what I mean with it though. And again, as I always say, like being original doesn't necessarily mean that it's automatically going to be made good because of it. I mean, I would argue that Bright was certainly very original in its concept, but if you were to ask me would I consider that a very good attempt, not really, mainly just in how it decides to handle its issues that it wants to talk about.
Ready? Yeah. Oh, and speaking of franchises, guess which?
Fire on that target.
So guess what's getting remastered?
Yeah, I know. The Mass Effect is getting a trilogy remaster in the spring of next year. So actually sooner than I thought.
Sooner? What do you mean by sooner?
I don't know. I actually was thinking it would have been like very late, like around the holidays.
But spring 2021, yeah. Yeah, and in addition, there's
Because I still consider many months later to still be like a lot later.
yeah, and there's also Bioware's also working on Bioware is
A
also
brand
working,
new Mass Effect game.
yeah.
No details on what it actually is, just that it's being made.
Aside from some artwork that seems to imply that it's going to take place in the Andromeda Galaxy.
That's the impression I get too. But I wonder if they're actually going to still, even though that they saw that it wasn't really worth doing the transfer saves, I wonder if they're still going to do that. Or if they'll essentially just sort of say, okay, these things happen.
They locked onto me. Got an enemy tractor beam.
Taking out a lot of tightness.
Okay, you gotta admit, me just like boosted out of that.
Vanguard 5, you have a tail.
Gonna have to dodge it. So can you hear me?
Close one.
Nope, I'm getting damaged because I'm out of bounds. Okay, so... Alright, so, okay, so I'm good, so... I'm trying to talk and play at the same time, so.
Disable their shields.
Tractor beam.
Anyway, have you looked at the new operation for Gears 5 with the packaging?
I have. I've been able to play a little bit of it, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
really like the changes that they made to it.
I'm kind of surprised that they decided to separate the class abilities, the abilities and categorize them to classes.
I really love that they did that because now it actually allows me to play whatever character I want instead of the characters who are basically just the most useful for what I'm going for. Didn't help that the promotional characters, like the Terminator and Halo characters, had overall pretty useless special abilities to use because ultimately they weren't really useful past that point.
Yeah. Oh shit. Two missiles on me, two missiles on me. Oh. Star Destroyer, that's why. Give me a second, I need to close the door. So we got the B-Wings coming out, and what's the what are the Imperial's counterpart called again?
The TIE Defender.
TIE Defender. That sounds new. Where did they first appear in?
They actually first appeared, I believe, was in the TIE Fighter games of way back when, and they made their first canon appearance in Star Wars Rebels.
Makes sense.
See that? Shoot it.
Raider down. Nice one, Vanguard.
Okay, I don't think I can take on a Star Destroyer. Yeah, this is a bad idea to take on Star Destroyer like that. Bad idea. Anyway, yeah, so there are also some characters that I don't know what to say about the Gears 5 overall aside from, pick a class regardless of the character I play as, except for Jack. Which actually kind of makes sense because Jack is his own,
I see our target.
He's his own thing.
Shields are restored.
Yeah. But overall, I really liked it, though, and I like what the operation brought to it.
Do you think you would
I also have to play the New Game Plus as well, because I honestly want to see how Batista sounds in the campaign.
He did a pretty decent job if the questions are right. And in addition,
I'm sure of it, because he's a great actor. I really like what he does. He's very funny.
Yeah, and one of the things you can do is use your multiplayer skins for the playable characters and for the weapons you carry. But yes,
yeah, I saw that.
And they carry for it in the cutscenes too. It works for most of the skins, but what I've seen doesn't exactly work for the Gears 4 skins because they're modeled different. They're modeled differently, so.
I imagine, because I noticed that like JD is actually bulkier in 5 than he was in 4.
Art style or what? Is it like a different?
I think yeah, from art style. Because when I look at the two models, maybe it's just because of the armor that he's wearing, but it just seems like JD is bulkier in Gears 5 than he is in 4.
That makes sense. Yeah, Kate seems to have gotten a little lightly. And here's one of the funniest things that I've seen. You can have like drones be your allies.
Have what be your allies?
Drones, like swarm drones. Funniest. That's just that's. Oh shit. Okay. Shields up.
Yeah, that's just only been on my mind with it though. Just all that, like, wow, we kind of said everything that I kind of originally envisioned. It's just mainly the only thing on my mind all day had just been the originality stuff I saw people talking about because film and storytelling is something I'm very passionate about. But it's also just something where I just feel as if the talking point where it's like, even though I understand where it's coming from, it just still has this feeling of just like, what's the point of really asking for so-called original works if at the end of the day the stories are not really different? And just saying like what needs to exist, which always to me feels like the wrong question to ask, when you should be focusing more on just whether or not it was just good or not.
Okay,
Because again, no kind of story ever, quote unquote, needs to exist a lot of the time. So it just comes with, are they ultimately good enough to where they're ultimately worth it?
Power system is
I'm
under
pulling.
attack.
I'm doing the loop,
That's it for the power
and we're
system.
good. Anyway, for Tarsus Cauldron, I really do like the fact that you're separating, that you're decoupling the fixed ability scores for various races, because I'm not going to say about like cultural sensibilities in real life, because I do not think I don't know if I'm qualified to talk about it, but from a mechanics standpoint, that'll encourage further customization. Though even though that it might mean that
Oh wow.
it would put like variant humans, the Warforged, and Half-Elves a bit lower on the how powerful they are as compared to other races overall. Oh, this is not my day. 4 missiles on me. 4 out. So yeah. I from a mechanics standpoint, it's very sound. And one of the things that it adds in is a custom lineage. In other words,
Our flagship has sustained
like you could be a half orc and a half elf, for example, or some variant of a class that you just have to cook up of somehow. It gives you a +2 ability score. Common some other language or two. A feat, and either a skill proficiency or dark vision. 60 feet. Which is actually pretty neat. Kill assist. Nice. You know what's really funny? And yes, I actually checked in, I actually looked up on character customization. Yes, you can customize who the main character is in, newest Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War.
Cold War.
Yeah. So aside from classified, the 3 options are for your character's gender are male, female, and non-binary. You want to hear the funniest thing about it? Call of Duty might be the first one to get to that option, aside from other games, before Cyberpunk.
That's one more victory for the New Republic.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of ironic though, when thinking of it. Even if people are talking about the ethics of the Cold War itself and the U.S.'s involvement in it, but so far I just say progress, kind of.
Yeah, I just roll with it. It's first of all, it's really complicated, and I'm not an expert in it. It's also
Neither am I.
Yeah, do you want to try? Oh, we're turning the main menu, so yeah. I just find it funny. We're in while you can pick your body shape in if this is me remembering correctly, like your body shape and pronouns. I think yeah, your character's pronouns are tied to your character's voice. Now I'm gonna stop. I don't know much about it, to be honest. I'm just gonna move on. Moving on. Have we ever gotten word about what's nominated for the Video Game Awards this year? So I've heard something like.
I already saw the nominations, and they really did not surprise me. I always just basically think that most likely Last of Us 2 is going to win it. There's probably one other game that's on there that if I re-looked at the list, because I knew there was one other that I said was likely, but some of the others, like Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal, I'm like, yeah, those games don't have the slightest chance in hell of winning.
Especially against The Last of Us, which Part 2, which is quite divisive.
It's just that rather, I just know they won't really win just because of, well, in the case of Doom Eternal, because really it's just primarily about gameplay and such, whereas I could see for other ones like The Last of Us 2, that's like, oh, because it has this story that's really investing and all that.
And somehow it's, and for one reason or another, I think we talk about how divisive that game is somehow. It's like, compare it to The Last Jedi, and here's kind of funny. I do not like
you're talking in and out, Nord.
Yes, I do not like how divisive, I do not like how it's not about how divisive it is, it's how like well into this mystery porn that the Last of Part 2 is compared to The Last Jedi.
It's certainly a very dark one, and honestly, I'm not going to fault you for that being enough of a turnoff for it. I mean, I'm just a person who can always take a story on their own terms, but I can understand if something is just like you don't really like uber dark stories, basically, like the whole pitch dark stuff, which I can understand why. Like you prefer more uplifting, or at the very least, like only dark in the lighter sense of the word.
Or
as for me, it wouldn't bother me though. From that, at least from what I've seen, I'd probably enjoy it a lot, and I would probably enjoy its predecessor a lot as well. But I just kind of take them on that front, really. It's just I think the Game Awards are just so toxic to see because people throw such hissy fits over it. Like, dude, these are just like made up awards that just get put to stuff though, kind of just because enough people voted on it. And I feel that ultimately the reason for it is just because a lot of these people see the awards given essentially as giving legitimacy to the game itself. So if you were nominated Game of the Year, then it feels as if your game was in fact really that good.
The Oscars nominated the Green Book back in 2018.
Yeah, because especially looking now when it's like, yeah, remember that super amazing superhero movie we got where it ended up being something that was a cultural touchstone, and we actually had freaking kids go where people were setting up charity drives to go and let them see this movie.
Like Avengers Endgame.
No, well, mainly I was thinking of Black Panther, but yeah.
And also, yes, Black Panther 2. I'm sorry, I completely
forgot. And also that it's like, oh yeah, and it turns out that its main actor during that was also powering through fucking cancer. And that movie ended up losing to a movie where the white guy has the audacity to go, hey, maybe you don't know about racism as well as you do, even though you're black. So it's like, bold, stupid, but bold.
No wonder why Spike Lee was pissed.
Like, even just seeing the bits of the movie, though, and especially seeing just bits and pieces from people who I trust on it, and just the fact that, yeah, it looks as if it's basically having the audacity to go, hey, you as the black person, maybe you don't understand racism as well as maybe you think you do.
I felt like bashing my head
on bold, stupid, but it's really bold.
I feel like bashing my head on the desk, but that would be, obviously painful, and it would be detrimental to my health. Alright, so I'm looking at the list of nominations.
Like, honestly, you couldn't really piss me off, but a movie doing that, it's like, it looks like you're trying to. Even though I have no skin in that game, but still.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the nominations for. I'm going to categorize them by.
Like, honestly, even with the Oscars, I've largely just not taken them seriously. Last year also just reinforced why, like, how many of the stuff that was there. Like, somehow Lupita Nyong'o and Jennifer Lopez didn't even get nominated for supporting actresses.
Oof.
Or even like how somehow that even though that I think it was called Little Woman, was it, where it's like the movie itself was nominated for Best Picture, but its director Greta Gerwig, I couldn't exactly remember her name at this point because I suck at remembering names, where it's like, but somehow she wasn't nominated for Best Director, so it's like, so you're apparently willing, and you have that same treatment for the other Best Picture nominations, but you didn't give it to Greta. Why?
Hey, some of these Oscar-nominated shows
and then giving
movies,
a whole bunch of Oscars to Joker, which, again, at least in my opinion, I wouldn't really say it deserved, and I was a person who watched the movie. I would say the score was really good. Yeah. I do think that it had a lot of good
really do think it might be a bit bitter of me. I'm just really bummed out that John Williams did not win the Oscar for the music.
Best music.
Yeah, it's his last outing for Star Wars.
But again, it's just why as time has gone on, I don't really take the Oscars seriously because of how much stuff they snub in favor of movies that are only, like most of the time, only on a superficial level, something that is maybe about something.
Yeah. Anyway, as for the nominees, I'll just go by category. So, Game of the Year. Animal Crossing, Doom Eternal,
Focus on their
Final
fighters.
Fantasy VII Remake,
Merge up if things get
Ghost
tough.
of
If there was
Tsushima.
a game I would actually give Game of the Year to, I actually would give it to Animal Crossing. Not even because I played it, I haven't. I don't own a Switch. But honestly, considering how much happiness it brought people, especially at the height of the pandemic, I think that's what makes it very worthy of the award.
Yeah,
Live
and
speaking,
I shit you not, until Nintendo's recent policy, Joe Biden made an island set. Joe Biden's campaign made an island for the game,
Yeah, I saw that.
and his campaign did the same
Red
thing
Miller
for,
actually even took part in it.
and they did the same thing for Fortnite. I'm not kidding.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. I only knew of the Animal Crossing, but
Yeah.
not Fortnite.
And they made custom objectives that ties into the campaign. Just like, huh.
Oh, that's really awesome.
It's just amusing and great as it instantly making shirts and other merchandising soon after the debate with with swatting and the really shut up man starting bringing up politics. It's just that it's kind of relevant.
So honestly, Animal Crossing, I think, was actually quite terrific in what it did for people for that. Like, it honestly, like, surprisingly came out at the best possible time, really.
Indeed.
So honestly, if there was a game I would give to Game of the Year, I probably would give it to Animal Crossing. And it's a game I've never even played, but because of how much I probably saw more happiness in that game, because it's like, for once, there was no toxic discord, and honestly, as far as I'm concerned, you deserve several medals just for that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. The rest of the categories for Game of the Year, the rest of the nominees for Game of the Year are 80s. I'm vaguely familiar with that. It's like some sort of like...
I'm only vaguely familiar
Ow, ow, ow.
with Hades, but only because I've seen how many jokes about how horny the game is.
Horniest game... It should win its own award, the horniest game of the year.
So honestly, considering how many people use that term and often how juvenile it often sounds when they apply it, I'm kind of skeptical on it.
Yeah. And, well, of course, Last of Us Part 2 for Game of the Year. Best game direction, Final Fantasy...
Actually, surprising that AC Valhalla wasn't included in that, because I remember Odyssey last year was included. Or was that 2 years ago? I often don't keep track.
I think 2 years ago? I don't know. Anyway, for...
No, wait, it was 2 years ago, because that was the same year God of War actually got Game of the Year.
I think it was Origins, Assassin's Creed Origins. Hard to keep track these days.
But yeah, honestly, I just say as time has gone on, I would say don't take the Game Awards like as this hyper serious kind of thing to it, because truth be told, I would say that I don't even take them seriously, and primarily just because, again, like, you probably had plenty of stuff that you thought deserved awards but ultimately got snubbed.
I'm a little bummed out about Jedi Fallen Order not included, and in both.
Though in that case, it was some bullshit where apparently they were by the time of release and got the reviews in, it was just past the deadline that you could
Got my
submit.
mark.
Oh, it's just bad luck. So bullshit though.
Yeah.
Let me start over with the best game direction. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm not good with Japanese. Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and of course, The Last of Us Part 2. Best narrative, 30 Sentinels H's Rim, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not too surprising, given given how meta it goes with remakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Tsushima. It's pronounced Ghost of Tsushima.
Tsushima, thank you. Hades. And, of course, The Last of Us Part 2. Best art direction. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Ghost of Tsushima. Oh my god, I mispronounced it. Hades. Definitely, I definitely can see why. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Never played that game, but damn, it looks beautiful.
And I've told lots of good things about that game.
And of course, it's The Last of Us Part 2. At this point, it might be on every category. That game.
I imagine it was an overall very critically liked game, again, despite what some Twitter users would like to think was the case. This is why I always say again, don't think something was
Enemies
actually
locked onto me.
polarizing just because you saw it on Twitter. I always say this.
Yeah,
if Twitter was my indication of what people's feelings on games were, Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty would be super despised franchises that nobody likes. And yet, I regularly meet people who are like, "Hey, I'm getting the new insert franchise game here that people supposedly don't like."
Yeah.
Like, I have plenty of coworkers who already bought Modern Warfare at launch and were super into it. And same for Black Ops 4.
I actually know someone by the gaming author who likes The Rise of Skywalker. So did I. When I first saw it, and my first impression was...
Again, the movie itself was very successful, and ultimately it was a movie more people liked. At least based on what I could find, it was the least liked of the sequel trilogy, but it was by no means disliked by the wider public. Again, only by people who are on Twitter who don't have anything better to do than bitch about movies.
Yep. Okay, so best score and music, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm kind of surprised that Final Fantasy VII's gained plenty of nominations in several categories so far. Doom Eternal, I am not surprised. I'm definitely...
So, yeah, it's probably just going to end up being there, so I'm just anticipating that The Last of Us 2 will be what ultimately ends up winning Game of the Year. And again, I would just say if that's not what you really like for it, again, I would say don't really take it seriously, because I'm pretty sure we all have had feelings of the stuff that got snubbed.
Yeah, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and of course, The Last of Us Part 2.
For what category?
Best score and music. This is becoming like...
where Ori had gore, but okay.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that's for best score. Score, S-C-O-R.
Score, oh, okay. I thought I heard you say gore, I'm like, Ori doesn't have gore, what the hell?
That's me mispronouncing. That's entirely my fault.
Yeah, I've at least heard bits and pieces of Ori, and it does have a really rich score. So honestly, I would say like that's a good one that I think should win. I wouldn't really envision The Last of Us 2 having much of a score, but I could easily be wrong.
Yeah, it's very... The Last of Us games have a very atmospheric music.
Score?
Yeah, they're very atmospheric. Best audio design, Doom Eternal. Not surprised there. Half-Life Alyx. I can easily see that. I see some bits and pieces of it. Ghost of Tsushima. I think I got it right this time. Resident Evil 3, the remake. The remake of Resident Evil 3, just to clarify.
Honestly, I feel for the Game Awards, I'm actually only excited for them to see what exactly they will announce there, because there's usually at least some surprise that catches me off guard.
That's a good point. And best audio
like
design.
2 years ago when I think it was Dragon Age. What is the new Dragon Age game called again? Or at least like said by people?
The Inquisition, third game. Dragon Age Inquisition.
No, the newest Dragon Age that's coming out.
It's just
I think it was like 5.
Dragon Age 4. It's just for now.
Okay.
We're calling Dragon Age 4 just to be on the safe side. We don't know what is
For
that.
some reason, I thought there were more Dragon Age games than 4.
There are some tie-in games and some books, comics and stuff, but other than that, nope.
But like in terms of mainline games, this is the 4th one, so kind of like the Fallout games.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, best performance. Ashley Johnson as Ellie from The Last of Us Part 2. Laura Bailey as Abby, the buff girl who played a hole-in-one with a bearded man. Spoilers, by the way, spoilers. Because I really want to say that just because it sounds incredibly funny. Daisuke Tushi as Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not good at Japanese, by the way. Logan
Tsushima, that's how you pronounce it. Tsushima.
This is going to take me a while, I swear.
Don't get the T is silent, so you just say Tsushima.
Tsushima. Got Logan Cunningham as Hades from, well, Hades. Nutty Chetter as Miles Morales in Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, the game. He's actually a bit of a regular whenever he voices Miles Morales, except for Into the Spider-Verse. That's someone else. Moving on to the next category. You know, this is kind of hard when I have to pay attention where I fly and look at the screen for all the good stuff. Games for impact. If found, I have no idea what any of these games are, so I'm just gonna like Dreamfield, It Found, Kentucky Route Zero TV edition that I've heard, Spirit Affair. Tell me why that one I've heard of. Tell me why where one of the characters you play as is a trans man. Long story short, who has a spiritual connection with his twin sister. A pretty solid way to establish their superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And through the darkest of times, I've only heard 2 of them, so I really cannot say. Best ongoing: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky.
For multiplayer experiences?
Empire's
Best
knocking
ongoing,
onto
like
me.
live service games, stuff like that.
Oh,
Best indie: Karen, Karrion, Karen. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it. Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout. I've seen like people like Markiplier and Sean Wolf play that game. It looks fun. Hades. Okay, not too surprising. Spelunky. Spelunky 2, and Spirit Fair. Never heard of the last 2. Moving on. Best Mobile, presented by LG Wien, powered by Best Mobile, whatever. Among Us. Not so at all. I played that game. I played that game a couple times. I recommend it. It's free on the mobile, but it costs about $5 on the Steam version.
what game was it?
Among Us. It's free on like.
Oh yeah, that one. It's what everyone's been playing as of late.
Yeah. Let's hope you're not sus about it.
No, I'd be willing to pay the $5 for it. There's no one I can play it with. I forgot it.
It's the $5 version is on like
Because I can only play it on the mobile version because I don't have it.
yeah, mobile version 3 by the way. And yes, you can play
Oh, that's good.
yeah. And we can play together besides you being playing on mobile.
Stop now.
But you had to
I mean,
yes.
if I could get a group together, I'd be more than happy to play.
I love this Wii supply. So anyway, Call of Duty Mobile. Genshin Impact. Wait, Genshin Impact is a mobile game? I saw like people play on like consoles. Interesting.
Next flying.
Legends of Runeterra. And Pokemon Cafe Mix. Pokemon Cafe Mix? What exactly is that?
No idea. I don't really follow Pokemon at all.
It's been like a long time since I followed Pokemon.
Close one.
Alright, so best community support. Quite a bit of an overlap there, but whatever. And I'm getting shot at rear. Okay, gonna go back to balance. Best community support. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, and Valorant. Not surprising over there. I vaguely heard of Valorant. It has some similarities to Overwatch. It's like a mix between Counter-Strike and but with Overwatch stuff.
Attack that Star Destroyer.
So, class hero-based gameplay.
Yes. And innovation in accessibility. And speaking of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it got a nomination in that. Grounded. Yep. Okay, Hyperdot. Okay. Oh, Grounded is made by Obsidian, published by Xbox Game Studios. New Republic victory! Yay! Even though I didn't do anything.
Victory is ours, man.
Same for me.
And once again, for innovation in accessibility nominations, The Last of Us Part 2. And Watch Dogs Legion. Ubisoft Toronto and Ubisoft for Legion and Ubisoft Montreal for Valhalla. Okay, so best VR and AR Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Marvel's Iron Man VR, and coincidentally, since we're playing the game right now, Star Wars Squadron.
For what exactly?
Best VR/AR virtual reality, alternate reality.
I believe it. I've been told by people who have played it in VR that it's honestly the best way to experience the game. Like, even though it wasn't built for VR, at least not intentionally, it essentially works so well that it could honestly feel like it was made for it.
Holy shit, really?
That's what I've been told by a lot of the people who played it in VR. That's like the best way to experience it is in VR.
Huh. And The Walking Dead Sins of Saners, where you have your own character, you do dialogue stuff. It gives me like Fallout vibes, like really, like it's like Fallout, some of the Fallout stuff, but in The Walking Dead. Best action. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be here for a while. Okay, so Doom Eternal, Hades.
Yeah, probably do it a bit sooner because actually I am getting tired. So I guess try to hurry up and say what we have to.
Yeah. So we're gonna skip the esports stuff. Yeah, because we're not into esports or content creator of the year because I do not think we've heard any of these people. Best debit game. Ooh, carry on. Mortal Shell. Heard interesting things about Mortal Shell. It's like Dark Souls, but you body check. Dark Souls, but body tracking. Raji and an Ancient Epic. Roki, no idea how to pronounce that. And Phasmophobia. I've seen Markiplier and Jacksepticeye I play it. There's this one part in from like at one part in the game where Markiplier was screaming his ass off while he was being taken away by a ghost. It's scary from his perspective, from Jacksepticeye's perspective. Hilarious because he was outside and all he heard was just like Markiplier screaming, and he and their buddies all just like laughed their asses off. Best multiplayer game. Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Among Us, Call of Duty Warzone, Four Guys, Ultimate Knockout, and Valorant. Oh god, we're gonna be here all day, I swear.
I think we kind of got the general categories for it, the ones at least that most people are going to think of for this stuff.
Yeah, oh god. So, thoughts on...
Yeah, best not to go through all of them. I think we kind of got the gist of it.
Okay, best action adventure. Oh, we're actually most of the way through. Marvel, okay. Finally, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is nominated for something! Best action adventure!
I guess since it didn't get the cut last year, so now they're like, okay, now we're gonna include it this one.
Fucking finally! It's a good...
It deserves that.
Well earned! Oh my god! Yes! Oh, I am so happy. Alright, so best role-playing, and of course, Last of Us Part 2. Like I said, it's a running gag at this point.
It's what I would expect at this point, because again, it was the biggest RP, it was the biggest game that came out when it did, and so it's probably going to end up nabbing most of the awards, especially because this gaming year was actually kind of small, really. We didn't really get much in the way of big releases this year.
Alright, so best role-playing, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. Hey, is Yakuza on Game Pass? Is Yakuza Like a Dragon on Game Pass, or is that just me?
I know some of it. I think at least one of the Yakuza games is on Game Pass.
Best fighting, Grand Blue Fantasy versus, never heard of that, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, which has gotten Rambo and John Rambo and Molina after constant fan demand. It's like, all right, like Netherlands, like, all right, here you go, Molina, here you go, happy now.
I don't understand why the huge love for her, though. She kind of seemed like she was just meant to be kind of a joke character. That's like, oh, she's super sexy, but the mask shows she has a monster face, basically.
I don't even want to know. I don't even know why. Just...
But it's like, whatever. People got what they liked, so I guess that brings happiness around.
Yeah. Okay, so Street Fighter V Champion Edition. That game has been out for how many years?
God knows.
Yeah, One Punch Man. A hero nobody knows.
How is that a game that's been out a while and is still putting out content? Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yeah. Ardenite Inbirth X. I'm not even gonna pronounce the late. So, I don't know. Best family. Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, you know what? I think you can get the gist of it.
I believe Crash Bandicoot actually undersold, if what I remember said right.
The Empire has a bad history when it comes to Yavin. Keep that legacy going. Scrap their ties.
Alright, so Desperados with that same strategy, Gears Tactics. Have you downloaded your Tactics yet? Is it any good?
I haven't, but I've been told it's really good by people who played it. And I'm really meaning to get around to it. I'm probably going to play it this Saturday.
Yeah.
It's just that this Friday, tomorrow I'm going to be so busy with other stuff.
Yeah, main character of that game, Gabe Diaz, who's...
I know you play as Gabe Diaz, Kate Diaz's father.
So he's actually one of the playable characters in with the new operation in Gears 5. Microsoft's Flight Simulator. That's pretty cool. And as Chimera Squad, I actually see if we look at compares the strength, like the upsides and downsides, strengths and weaknesses, how well both Gears and XCOM did. And it did a pretty good job comparing the two. Best multiplayer, Animal Crossing, Among Us. Okay, I think you'll get the gist of it with the
Yeah, because we're kind of just hearing the same games over and over, just for different categories.
Yeah. So thoughts
So
on...
essentially, those are the main ones we have to
at least with both of us. If you're curious about esports, you just have to look it up because we are not into sports.
basically. Wait, esports was it?
Esports. Yeah. Esports.
Yeah, so esports probably needs more games that are in that competitive space like Overwatch.
Yeah.
That guy right behind you.
Oh god. Oh, I feel like I'm a little bit out of breath. It feels like my face has gotten a little red. You alright, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Face is tired.
Yeah.
Basically just yawning.
Yeah. Earlier today, I had a D&D session. Aside for some connection issues here and there, it went pretty well, and my players kind of enjoyed the session.
That's good. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you return around December. Really looking forward.
Yeah, mid-December is when I should be back, because my classes end on the 12th, and then I'm taking a break from college until this COVID stuff is resolved, and then I could actually go to classes in person again.
Nice. Alright, so last match before we call it for tonight?
On my
Yeah.
way.
Alrighty, so...
And other stuff, I actually ended up watching the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special today.
I was going to mention that. How was it?
Oh, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I just thought it was really funny, while also very heartwarming too.
So it's Ray. It's just going. So it's basically Ray going through a trip through time, meeting with the other characters.
She goes there because she's trying to learn how to become a better Jedi so she can train Finn. So she tries to go and see all these various different Jedi Masters there, and then she ends up getting caught in all these very funny shenanigans.
Our frigates are under attack.
They actually put a lot more thought into that holiday special than the 1978 version.
But keep in mind though, nobody really knew what they were kind of doing. They just were like, hey, why don't we do that because the holidays were coming up. I'm not going to fault him for that because again, this was brand new territory.
Yeah,
and
that's
also
fair.
because this kind of stuff also just looked the LEGO style perfectly, honestly.
Yeah, I kind of see what would be like in Chronicles. Would Ray do the same thing canonically, but without
Honestly, the LEGO stuff I've always seen has always been up in the air for canon. I just don't really hyper-focus on it. Like, at best, probably would just be like, okay, so probably she ended up seeing, like, these different Jedi Masters through visions and such, but probably not in there, since LEGO is basically a goof tier retelling of stuff that more or less happened.
I could see that.
But it has happened sometimes, like the LEGO Freemaker adventures were actually directly referenced in Squadrons.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
What exactly was the reference in that game?
I don't remember, but I do remember the Freemakers being directly referenced in this game.
Picked up a tail.
I'll have to give it a shot. I say this as I try to shoot a TIE fighter, or TIE interceptor, and ow.
I'm hit.
Okay, so I'm gonna take out this.
Ship's disabled.
And dead. Oof. It's okay if I bring out like internet drama and stuff because I sent you a picture of Lizzie Ellis chewing giving ripping a.
No, I saw that. Yeah, I thought like myself like, yeah, that's really fucking creepy too, though.
Yeah, it's like,
this is again always the thing that has always been the biggest sort of conflict with it, because I like Bob's cultural takes and a lot of his movie and media takes, though. But God, is his political ones and even his social behavior less than desirable. If I'm going to be
yeah, and I'm finding that more and more of his cultural takes just being worse. It's just like he's.
Let's focus fire on those cruisers.
I don't know.
That's why I say specifically his media takes, not necessarily his cultural ones.
I'm also including his media takes because he seems to be lashing out with like Star Wars and Marvel and stuff, like, from what I gather.
That was one tweet he did it for, but honestly his Star Wars stuff is mostly positive on that. He gave the Rise of Skywalker still a very solid review. He ultimately still thought that what he did was still ultimately pretty good, though, even if maybe its execution could have been a bit better. But ultimately, he's more positive on it, having seen from his content.
Yeah, I just kind of wish that he would just, I don't know, think things through. I should actually have.
Yeah, he is quite, what's the word for it? Impulsive, that's what it is, impulsive.
The thing called a batting practice, and I know that Lindsay Ellis isn't any better because I've seen some of her tweets, like her Harriet, like one about Harriet and her.
Oh yeah, she's also lots of heaps of garbage. I had to unfollow her on social media because I'm just like, this girl is just pissing me off.
And she is like very supportive of Stephanie Myers and Warlight, as shown in her videos. It's like there's a reason why people, aside from like girls like it, because there's a lot of.
But no, I think if people trying to say that wasn't a major reason, no, that is absolutely a major reason. There's another way you can often look at this as to why would it be that guys who were super into Transformers were not My Little Pony, even though they came from the same era and were largely the same thing in terms of what their purpose was. And yes, it was largely because My Little Pony attracts to women and young girls, whereas Transformers is something that appeals to boys. So therefore, Transformers could persevere regardless of what form it takes. Whereas for something like My Little Pony, if regardless of what age you were a guy to say, yes, I really like this stuff, you would be laughed out of the room of any group of guys.
Yeah.
So I think the people who are trying to underplay that part of Ellis's ones are ones that are just being, at least in my opinion, dishonest. When it's like, no, that is very much a good reason why. Look at any movie or thing that is largely geared towards women, and that is the case. Lifetime movies are the same thing, as are Hallmark movies. Like Hallmark, my grandmother, she loves watching Hallmark movies. Like every time the holidays are coming up, she tells me to put it back up on my Amazon Prime subscription, so that way she can go and watch them, because she loves watching those movies. And yes, because they largely appeal to women. That's why people like Ralph the Movie Maker and other shitty critics who are men always end up doing so, largely because yes, it appeals to women.
However,
so
like I said, it has a lot of baggage, like how it portrays like the Native American. Like the Native American character.
But I do agree with Ellis is that kind of the problematic stuff kind of comes across in the same way that people who hate Michael Bay have the sexism stuff, which is that they only see it only because they hate the thing to begin with. Not so much because it really is this hyper-problematic thing, when similar stuff and things like Scott Pilgrim versus the World have similar kind of things to take issue with, but yet they don't have it.
Yeah, she just have a lot of. Lindsay Ellis has just a lot of shit to take.
Because honestly, I find her Twilight videos to be among the better ones, but she also has lots of bad ones, like the Bright one, which I still think is a really terrible.
Or her complaint about the lack of realism in in the Hobbit movies of all things. Or how
like, yeah, this hyper fictional thing, and you're expecting realism out of it. Like, girl, come on.
Or how she also complained about like trying to add in realistic reactions to fantastical things in the Beauty and the Beast remake.
I think for her, at least from how I saw her video, her problem was more of people missing what the original was actually saying, and instead trying to hyper-focus on criticisms that were ultimately in bad faith over it. I also think she's a bad critic, but I also don't want to say that every video she's made hasn't had merit.
Yeah,
just that
true.
Rather most of them are just pretty bad.
Yeah, and I also remember that she also made a basically a conspiracy tweet, paranoid tweet about like how Disney has set up these roll accounts to to make racist tweets about who the actress for the live action version of
Mulan?
Not Mulan. Ariel for the Little Mermaid remake.
Yeah, I know. With such conspiracy theories, it's like, if you thought for more than 2 seconds, you can come up with a dozen ways to see why that whole conspiracy theory is a load of bullshit, like most of them.
There's criticism and there's paranoia. Learn the difference.
Because again, also because at the end of the day, she's a YouTuber and drama is ultimately what she needs to thrive on the platform.
Yeah, just like, most YouTubers and the alt-right.
Because also, that's why with these people, I always find it really funny when they always want to say like, oh my god, the only reason they're doing this is for money, and I stare at everything they do and be like, and that's not for money? Like, you did that PBS stuff, and you're gonna tell me they didn't pay you for that?
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of Markiplier earlier, so he and another YouTuber, Ethan, they did a channel that proposed honest, Markiplier Unus Honest, which is Latin, Unus Honest, which is Latin for 1 year, where they do all sort of like crazy things, not life-threatening, but still crazy things that wouldn't be acceptable in the eyes of the advertisers.
Because yeah, when I heard that, I was like, not advertiser friendly in what regard? Because that's already where I'm raising eyebrows.
But it turns out it's not edgy stuff, but just more like really fucking weird stuff. And part of the thing is that we all have limited time, so let's make the best use out of it. And he made this point across by him, Amy, and Ethan deleting the channel when the year is up. Social media for that account, everything. Every video has been deleted, and he has requested people not to re-upload the videos.
That's gonna be impossible. There's gonna be people who will re-upload them. Though I guess he could try to make sure to take them down later. Though I'm just not sure as to how reliable that would be up to be.
But still, that is a very applicable thing to explore.
Look, if you're gonna do something that's gonna make people happy, I'm just gonna always give you something to worth praise for. Because doing things to make people happy is ultimately something I would infinitely prefer people doing with their time than trying to make people miserable. That's my biggest problem with YouTube as a platform. It promotes misery.
Yeah. For the most part, Markiplier seems to promote a lot of happiness. That's why he's one of my favorite YouTubers.
Look, I'm not one of those people who conflates being critical of stuff, but the problem is how these YouTubers are critical is so full of shit.
Yeah.
And especially when it reeks, and I mean reeks, of something of ill intent.
That's why I like people like Markiplier. He's perfect, but damn if he's too
His
close.
content doesn't appeal to me, but I really appreciate what it does for other people. So it's like, hey, I'm happy for that.
Yeah, same. I'm sorry if it was a bit of a sore subject for you.
No, it's not. No, but that's just what it is for me, because again, I still kind of remember, like, I think back to the fandom stuff that were on there, like, when I would be on YouTube just watching the Star Wars videos on whatever sort of movie I was thinking of, and then, like, people just being happy and celebrating it, and then the new stuff came out, and then these people became so fucking toxic, and it just makes me really disappointed for that. So therefore, anyone who does content that's like, yeah, this content is really positive and it makes me happy, I go, yeah, you know what? That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, same. I'm just happy that that kind of just cold and everything. Oh fuck! Disabled again, and oof. You got just. God damn, that Sword Destroyer is. Oh shit, okay.
Tough to kill? Oh yeah.
And also, I forgot that we need to retreat, and I got shot down.
It's almost destroyed though.
Yeah. Honest. I'm gonna look up what his YouTube, what Ethan's YouTube name is. Okay, his YouTube channel's name for Ethan Nestor is Crank Games Play. Crank Game Plays. Crank Games Play. Crank Games Play. Crank Game Plays. English. Oh my god. Alright, yes. Are we losing or are we winning?
Well, so far we're defending our own creatures, so we'll have to take a bit. But we're honestly losing. The starting story is almost destroyed.
Did they nerf the difficulty to make sure that easy is really easy?
Not sure, honestly.
Because it felt like they fixed it. I'm actually kind of glad for it, because when we tried at normal, we have an easier time, but on easy, it's like the opposite happened.
But yeah, that's just what it is for us. So that's why with Market, especially for a lot of people that it brought them joy, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that at least he did that though. Because at the very least, for someone like him, it's like, even though his content doesn't appeal to me, it always felt like his content appealed to a younger audience. But you know what? I'm happy for that.
He's like a much better version of PewDiePie.
A what?
Much better version of PewDiePie. Ew.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't know since I didn't see his content, but...
yeah, PewDiePie has gotten himself in a fair share of controversy. Such, like him saying the N-word in a gamer moment, and I'm not making...
I know. No, I know about PewDiePie stuff. I'm saying for Markiplier, I've seen a much better version, so I wouldn't know, but I'll take your word for it.
Locking on.
Yeah, that's just ultimately what it is for me on that. And that's why I appreciate that, because honestly, like, that's why for me, like, especially because since he mainly focuses on trying to at least bring joy to his audience, is something that's just much more admirable to me, considering he could have went the much easier route and instead go and try to anger his audience in some way.
Yeah, he does get noisy, and overreacts, but that's just part of the fun, because...
Yeah, that's just part of the act. I don't mind for stuff like that, because as long as it's you frame it as an act, I don't care.
Oh shit!
Like,
oh.
I mean, this is why, like, as I say, like, for YouTube, there's, like, pretty much no real movie critics whose opinions I end up liking for the most part on that, though. Like, I end up not following all of them, like, especially... like the super popular ones, because I'm like, oh my god, your takes are really fucking stupid.
Especially the political ones, it's like, you really need to do some more research next time, because, god damn.
Or heck, just watch the fucking movie that you're getting, that you have a bug up your ass. Like, Jesus, that's all you have to do.
New Republic victory, again. Not much of a surprise, so I'm gonna leave the game.
Yeah, good idea.
Whew. Sure wanna quit? Yes. Because
Yeah, because honestly, I'm gonna call that a night, because I'm honestly getting pretty tired.
oh, excuse me. Okay, surprisingly, the connection is doing a lot better. Thank God.
Yeah.
Ugh. I need to stretch. I haven't done any stretching, so... I really should play more of a Star Wars Squadron now I think about it. Oh, and
I mean, yeah, that's what you're up for.
And I almost forgot to mention there's going to be another large update for Fallout 76, Still Dawn, which brings
In
back...
December 1st, which is 2 weeks from now.
I really got to catch up on Fallout 76. I really don't want to miss out.
I've so far caught up on it pretty well. Like, I've done all the major quests that have been from Wastelander, so all that's left is just go on the updates when they come out.
Yeah. So it's been great. Yeah, it's been great to see you again. It's been
definitely
weeks.
great talking to you again. So we'll try to do something there at the very latest. When that DLC comes out, we'll definitely go and stream it.
and I'll see if I can catch up on Wastelanders because, yeah, it's been like a hot minute since I last played this.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you later, Nord.
Alrighty, talk to you later, and we'll be rating someone else, Lady Larani, who's, I believe, is streaming, streaming Destiny 2. And as always, here comes the cavalry.